So discriminant, the quadratic equation x minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a, it not only generates the solutions to a quadratic equation, ये हमें nature of solutions भी बताता है एंड ये भी बताता है कि हमारे पास कितने solutions आएंगे, how many roots we will get after solving this equation and what kind of roots are those. So if we consider it like an ancient communication system, it's trying to communicate with us and telling us that I don't only generate the solutions. Instead, just look at the coded, secret coded letters that are telling about the nature and the number of solutions. So, discriminant basically means to discriminate or distinguish or tell apart roots, nature, के roots की nature क्या होगी, and this term was coined by Joseph Sylvester in 1851. So it gives the information about the roots of polynomials. Hence, the discriminant is the expression under the radical sign. So ये expression जो है वो हमें information देता है कि polynomial के roots कैसे होंगे. So if we say that it's actually a part of quadratic formula underneath the square root, so it tells us about the solutions. What type of solutions are those? Are those the real numbers or the complex numbers? And how many solutions are those? So moving forward, for the discriminant less than 0, that means कि अगर हमारे पास रेडिकल के underneath हमारे पास जो आंसर आएगा वो it will be negative, then we will be having two complex roots. If we look in the graph, it simply means कि graph x-axis को touch नहीं कर रहा. That means we will have the solutions like, for example, it can be of the type -2 plus minus iota, etc. Simply to be particular, वो x एक्सेस को बिल्कुल भी उसका टर्मिनल पॉइंट जो है वो टच नहीं करेगा. सेकेंडली, अगर हमारे पास डिस्क्रिमिनेंट 0 आ जाता है, दैट अगर हम बी स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac के अंदर वैल्यूज पुट करके उसको एवेल्यूएट करेंगे एंड द आंसर विल बी 0, दैट मीन्स वी विल सिंपली गेट वन रियल रूट. एंड अगर हम उसको ग्राफिकली देखें तो दैट मीन्स वी आर गेटिंग एट एक्स एक्सेस, एक एक्स एक्सेस पे उसको टच कर रहा है, वी हैव वन एक्स इंटरसेप्ट, तो इसका मतलब है हमारे पास डिस्क्रिमिनेंट जो है वो 0 है एंड इट विल take us to one real root. Lastly, if our determinant is greater than 0, अगर हमारा simply determinant under the radical sign is positive, then we will get two real roots. हमारे पास two positive roots आ जाएंगे. And graphically अगर हम इसको represent करते हैं तो that simply means कि हमारे पास graph is crossing the x-axis at 2 points. Moving further, रियल रूट्स हमारे पास दो टाइप्स के होंगे. दे कैन बी रैशनल एंड फॉर द रैशनल रूट्स दैट मीन्स कि हमारे पास अंडर रेडिकल साइन वी हैव अ परफेक्ट स्क्वायर एंड दैट परफेक्ट स्क्वायर कैन बी फर्दर एलेबोरेटेड एज स्क्वायर रूट 25 equals to 5. तो ये हमारे पास सिंपली रैशनल नंबर है. वी कैन से वी हैव 49 स्क्वायर रूट, दैट मीन्स हमारे पास 7 आंसर है. एंड वी इफ वी से वी हैव 36 and that will lead us to 6, etc. Secondly, हमारे पास irrational roots आ जाते हैं, which simply means that we don't have a perfect square underneath the square root sign, and this will lead to square root 17. This can be square root 3. This can be square root 29, etc. So let's move to our examples. Use the discriminant to find the nature of the roots to the following quadratic equations. So अगर हमने roots की nature को find करना है That means we have to look at the quadratic formula, which is trying to convey a message, a hidden code, that I have that formula which you can use to find the nature of the solutions. Since the equation is in the standard form, we will break it down into simple steps. In first step, we will identify the numbers a 1, b is 7, and c is minus 13, and then formula लिखेंगे b square minus 4ac, and then substitute the values. b की वैल्यू 7 है, 7 times 7 minus 4 a and c. This will lead us to 49 minus into minus plus, and we have 52, which will give us 101. Since हम क्वेश्चन है हमारे पास नेचर ऑफ द सॉल्यूशंस क्या हैं, वी विल सिंपली टेल द नेचर. वी वोंट टेल कि हमारे पास कितने सॉल्यूशंस आएंगे. इट इज पॉजिटिव, so its nature will be we will have real roots. Again, identify the a is 5, b is 1, and c is 4. This is a and b and c. Then put the formula b square minus 4ac and substitute the values. 1 square minus 4, value of a is 5 and c is 4. We will get 1 minus 4 times 5, 20. 20 into 4, we have 80, which will give us minus 79. So look here, we have a negative sign. That means we will be having complex roots. These are the nature of these roots. Now determine the number of solutions. For that, we have to again simply identify the numbers. a is 3 and b is 7, c is minus 9. Next we will put the formula and substitute the values, which will be 7 square minus 4a and c. 7 times 7, 49, minus into minus plus 12 into 9, which will give us 49 plus 108. So this will further simplify and we will get my plus 157. Now since we have plus 157, our sign is positive. That means our solutions will be 2 real roots. We both have the nature and the number of solutions. Next question is given that kx square plus 5x minus 5 by 4 has equal roots. What is the value of k? जब भी हम इस तरह के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं, we have the situation mentioned here. इसको लेते हुए हम backwards move करते हैं और k की वैल्यू फाइंड करते हैं. They simply said कि हमारे पास roots equal हैं. First of all, just identify that a is k and b is 5 and c is minus 5 by 4, a constant number. Secondly, put the formula b square minus 4ac. Now they said themselves that the equation has equal roots, so we will put it equal to 0. Simply substitute the values. We have 5 square minus 4k and minus 5 by 4, which is equals to 0. 4 will get cancelled out and we have 5 times 25, minus into minus plus 5k equals to 0, and 5k equals to minus 25 and k 5 multiply हो रहा है दूसरी तरफ, it will get divided and we have minus 5. So the value of k is minus 5. Determine the sign of the discriminant and number and nature of the roots. So the graph parabola is not touching x-axis anywhere. अगर वो x-axis को कहीं भी touch नहीं कर रहा, that means it is discriminant is negative and there will be 2 complex roots in the form of iotas. Now in the second graph, it is the parabola is touching x-axis at this point, at a single point. That means it is positive, its discriminant is positive, and it will have repeated roots. That means both roots will be same, or we can say that it has one real root. In the next graph, the parabola is touching x-axis at 2 points. That means its discriminant will be positive and it will have two real solutions. Now lastly, the most important thing is that after completing any topic, self-check yourself, evaluate your mastery, and see that what steps will you take to improve yourself. Just see that either solve quadratic equations using quadratic formula, can you do it confidently with some help, or either you don't get it. Can you use discriminant to predict the number of solutions? Can you identify most appropriate method to use? Lastly, let's check those equations, quadratic equations, which we solved previously in the Python. Let's see what we get. Suppose we have the equation b square plus 7b minus 13. In that we have a1 and b is 7, and lastly c is minus 13. We will get the discriminant is 101 and discriminant is positive, so equation has two real roots. Okay, for the second equation, that was 5n square plus n plus 4. In that we had a is 5 and b was 1 and c was plus 4, so we got minus 79, which was negative, so equation has two complex roots.